Hey guys, welcome to this week's recap of the Real Housewives of Miami, where the girls shut it down for us in this reunion part 3, the final part of the Real Housewives of Miami. Oh my god, this was a 10. These girls, they really shut it down. I'm like, I know the other girls are watching. They better be taking notes because our girls, they delivered. So where we last left off, we were talking about the Halloween party with the in process of divorce Hochsteins. And so pretty much, Lisa let us know that the event happened because Lenny, he loves the tradition of the Halloween party. And of course he would, because it's pretty much a whole situation where you get to be around models, young pretty little things, or what Lisa likes to call the little thoughts all around the home. And of course he's excited to do this, but she had to agree because it is a shared space for both of them, so she couldn't outright and say no. Kiki, she opens up and she tells us about going to these Halloween parties in previous years before she actually knew Lisa personally, because she was invited by third-party promoters, so she would go to these events and see what happened in these events. And Kiki, she made it be known that Lenny is known to cheat, and he's been cheating for a long time. She actually know models that he has cheated with. Now, looking back, Lisa, she believes that, hindsight is 2020, but she now stands in the truth, knowing that, this has been going on the whole time. This is not something that just happened yesterday. This is a situation that developed until the situation came to her front door where she can no longer deny it. So she's heard of it for years, of like people bringing up, oh, Lenny is doing this, Lenny is doing that. But she always thought that, they were just trying to break up her marriage and they were jealous of her situation. I don't know if, we can believe that to be true. I think she's always has been in denial of the whole situation, but she obviously never thought that it will get to the point where Lenny would say that he no longer wants to be with her and that he wants to actually move in someone else into the whole situation. So it's just crazy, this whole situation. And of course, I wish Lenny was there to say his side, so we hear from his part, and we could close the chapter and move forward, because I felt like, these people, they open their lives to us. We hear all of their, their business and stuff like that. So I feel like when stuff like this happen, it would be appreciated by us as a viewer to hear the final words from you, especially if you're not going to disappear off from the Real Housewives franchise. Come on. So, Kiki, she relates, of course, oh my God, Kiki and her moments. Kiki, she relates to not being able to see the situation and going through heartbreaks. She, she tells us how she met a man who happened to slip and fell on someone's vagine. And I'm like, I live for Kiki. Kiki is a moment, and we need her to be a housewife next season. If she doesn't want to, it's okay for her to be a friend of. But I would love to see Kiki as a housewife to this franchise. A perfect fit. Lover. So, Andy asks Lisa, why would she allow these kind of parties with so many young women, and if she sees it as a speed dating event for Lenny. And that just clicked to her. She's like, now she sees that. Her fights with Lenny always came from these parties, okay? Lenny would flirt so much with these ladies, and it would make Lisa so mad. And not only mad, that he would also call her crazy by saying, oh, why can't he have female friends, or oh, she's just you're being insecure. And most of the ladies, they say they wouldn't go to these parties, and they wouldn't even dare to bring their men to those kind of parties that Lisa would throw with Lenny. Alexia said that she used to go, but at some point it became uncomfortable. The parties were doing too much. Now I'm so curious. I said, what went down at these parties? And of course she said, and Todd knew not to look. Okay, she don't play with her man Todd. Okay, Todd knows better than that. So interesting enough, when Julia, Martina, and Adriana went to go see Lisa at these parties, Lenny actually wouldn't allow them to come into the party. I wonder why. That is so crazy, you know? Of course, Lisa wished she had paid attention and saw these signs earlier. But of course, she knows that it wouldn't have changed anything or changed the situation. But I feel like for her, she wouldn't have defended Lenny so hard this whole time to people because, you know, the ladies brought it up to Lisa. It's like, Lisa, why do you have these kinds of party? And, you know, Lisa would defend, you know, and also, the girls would complain that these parties didn't even include people they know. It's like a whole bunch of randoms. And Lisa would defend and say, I know. You know, Lenny likes to have these parties. So she would let it slide. But now, she would not defend this man for those parties ever again. And I'm happy she doesn't have to. So Andy, he gives Lisa's compliments. And he tells her, he calls her a bombshell and how she looks so good. And he wondered if Lenny ever appreciated her. And Lisa is so hard on herself. And Lisa, she reflects on last year with all the filler that was in her face and how her look was probably not the best. So she felt like, Lenny just looked at her like she was crazy. And this was kind of like him, like, you know, looking out for something better because what's in his home is not as good looking. And at that moment, I wanted to give Lisa a hug because I feel like, girl, no. With all the fillers in your face or any modification that you have done, that is not a reason for you to go through what you have gone through with this man, okay? And of course, the girls, they have her back and say, no, don't do that. Don't be hard on yourself. I feel like with Lenny, no matter what Lisa looked like, he was going to do what he wanted to do because obviously he is so cold-hearted and able to shut off so quickly and cut off from her, which is so devastating given that they have kids together and they've been married for so long. So I love that this is a real sisterhood. And Lisa is, of course, she is so grateful for these women. Everyone have been so supportive towards her. Particularly, she likes to highlight Larsa because she was a witness for Lisa's trial. So remember, guys, when Lenny's girlfriend placed a restraining order on Lisa, Larsa, she was the one to step in to help it get dismissed. So of course, you know, a lot of people know Lisa and a lot of people know Lenny and they have mutual friends. So not many people wanted to, you know, get involved or be a part of the situation. But Larsa was the one to work all day. You know, Larsa, she's busy, you know, she's booked and busy with taking pictures of her feed, busy, you know, with her man, busy with her kids, busy with that dog. That dog, I wonder if that dog is finally trained. But you know, Larsa is busy. Larsa is always doing something, okay? So for Larsa to work all day to help Lisa, Lisa really appreciated that and respected that a lot. So Lenny's girlfriend tried to portray Lisa as an aggressor, but Larsa came to Lisa's defense and say that Lisa was only trying to communicate with her husband, that it had nothing to do with the girlfriend. So the judge heard Larsa and said, case dismissed. Okay. And, you know, Larsa said that if the girlfriend was able to get the restraining order, that Lisa would not have been able to go to the restaurants that they go to. Okay. And Gertie is so funny. She's like, oh, hell no. Larsa is like, I'm invested into that. We're not doing this. So she got that case dismissed. And, you know, I respect Larsa. Larsa is a good friend to have. As much as these girls call Larsa a larcenist and that she can come below the belt, she gone below the belt with Lisa too. But look, she's still able to be there for her friend where it matters the most. So I would take Larsa as a friend. I don't mind Larsa. I don't feel like Larsa go below the belt too much. But I feel like if you go for her, she will come back at you. So be prepared. But if you are going through something, you can see that Larsa, she's a good friend. She's there to have her girls back. Okay. So through all of this, through all of these events that Lisa have gone through with this man, Lenny, she says she will still get married again. And I don't blame her. Not every man are like Lenny. So she says she wants a life partner and she wants and she wants to be loved back. So I thought that was a cute thing to add at the end, because of course she showed love to Lenny, but did Lenny love her back? And what she's asking for is someone to love her back, because obviously she knows how to love, she knows how to give love, so she wants to receive love back. So the girls, of course, they are supportive, and they tell her that she will find that will not be an issue for her. And of course, as we know, her boyfriend is backstage listening to all this, so she has a good chance of finding. I'm pretty sure she has a good chance of finding love again. Okay, so now Andy, he gets back to Alexia. And he asked Alexia, is it true that you speak more of a Miami Spanish? And is that like that for most Spanish people in Miami? And, I'm like, okay, Alexia is not good with the generalizations. Why are we setting her up for that? Okay. But, she just explains it a little bit more. She has a more Miami accent. So Andy, he gets into asking her if her family supported her dating outside her Cuban culture. And, Alexia, she says that her mother always wanted her to date outside of the Cuban culture. And even more so, the reason why is that, the reason why her marriages failed is because she married a Cuban person. So her mother was rooting for her to be with someone not Cuban. And the same for Marisol too. So similar story for Marisol. Marisol's also Cuban. So now the girls, they have their gringos, both Todd and Steve. And okay, I like that Andy asked this question finally, because I was curious too. Andy asked if Anthony and Todd made up after the gringo lunch. Because remember, these guys were going back and forth with each other during lunch. I'm like, I'm trying to eat the food. I'm trying to watch the food. And these two are going back and forth because Anthony wants to say he wants to get chocolates and flowers for a man that is Todd's good friend. So Alexia says that, they ran into Antonia and Nicole at Art Basel. And I'm like, why'd you gotta call him Antonia? That's not a good start. And so she was with her man, with Todd. And, I guess from that start of it, they didn't make up. So Alexia says Antonia started saying that not only Antonia and Nicole are the only ones with real jobs, and that he does what he wants. Now, Nicole, she gives her version of the story, and it's Nicole's turn to spill the tea. So Nicole says that Alexia walked in, and she was like, y'all are in trouble. Y'all are in trouble. Do I believe that? Yeah, because Alexia, she does a lot. She's very dramatic. But I wanted to know more. I wanted to know what happened more between that conversation between the two. But we don't get to hear more. But hopefully, next season, we pick up where we left off, okay? So, Andy, he addressed Larsa's braids. And Larsa, her response is that she is not white. And she is not a white woman. She is correct. She is not a white woman. But what I did not need was Marisol trying to jump in and say, oh, have anyone heard of Bo Derek? No, that's nothing to do with the conversation. You know what time it is when we are in a conversation about a person who seemingly is white wearing braids, okay? So I'm like, Marisol, keep sipping your drink. Don't get into this. So Andy asked Kiki, and Kiki, she's not a representative of all Black women, but she gives her perspective. Kiki feels that anyone should be able to rock what they want to rock, and they should embrace it. And, I felt like, Larsa, she did her best to be respectful to this question. She said that, her kids wear braids. She have a braider who comes in every so often to do the hair of her kids. And, she says she's not white. So, period. And, she's grown up wearing braids. Like, this is nothing new to her. But I can understand where, someone can ask, are you appropriating a culture? I think if you were to say that, these braids were created by the Bo Derek culture, then that's crazy. Now you're appropriating, you're taking something, you're not giving, proper history of it, of the braiding hair situation. So I felt like, this was not like a moment to be have, and I like that it wasn't a big deal. I didn't see it in my perspective a big deal, but for anyone out there who does find it a big deal, what did you think of Larsa's response? I'm so curious. So we get more Kiki time. Andy, he asked Kiki about her emotional moment with the shaman and why is that is. And she says that, she's going through a lot, so she's willing to try anything to help. And I was like, oh, Kiki. Kiki is making us laugh, but she's going through a lot. So I know, like, with people, how they deal with a lot of things is through laughter and trying to be as happy as possible. But I do respect Kiki for, saying that she's willing to try anything to find help for her to feel better in her situation. Marisol, she stands up for Kiki and says, Kiki is a single mom, 2 kids, a model, and everything falls on her. And, I love Kiki. I love what Kiki has brought to this show. She does bring a lightness. She does bring a party with her. And I would like for her to be a housewife next season, I love how she was able to, interact with all the women. And I feel like, why not Kiki? If Kiki wants to. I don't know what Kiki wants to do. But if Kiki wants to, she is more than welcome to be a housewife for this franchise. Okay? So Marisol, she mentioned how she hasn't felt her mom for some months. And, they addressed this situation about the gifts that Julia gave the girls from the Botanica, from the Botanica shop. That's not a Botanica shop, but the girls call it the Botanica shop. And pretty much how she responded is that she was not open to receiving energy from anything. And it actually didn't have anything to do from it being from Adriana and Julia, And, what's funny is that she doesn't even feel that Julia has the capacity to put bad juju on her. And interesting enough, Adriana, she interjects and says that why you thought in your confessional that I would. And Marisol tells her it's because she's Brazilian. And I'm like, whoop, is this going to be a moment? But, after that all happened, it was time for Kiki to go. We were ending that scene. And Kiki does not leave without receiving her burger. Andy surprised us by giving Kiki a burger, and she makes her exit. But before she does, and I'm so happy for this moment too, Julia, she apologized to Kiki and wished that Kiki was at her party. And, because of the whole situation that, Kiki, she wanted to, start a lawsuit because she was mad at the photo shoot with the whole situation. And Julia, she says, well, because you did that, you're not invited to the party. Now, Julia, getting to know Kiki, she regrets that and she wished she had Kiki at her party. And, Kiki, of course, she's just lets it go. She's like, I accept your apology, and also I want to have a date with you, and then Julia says, and my goat, and have a goat date. And she's like, no, not your goat, forget your goat. She wants to have a date with her, Martina, and Julia. So that'll be great to see for next season. That's a perfect setup. Love it. So Andy, he gets into Gertie's portion of the reunion. So he highlighted how Gertie, she's Bride's Magazine Wedding Planner of the Year. Gertie clarifies, she's like, that's one of many people who have this award, but she does add that she's also Global Planner of the Year, and it's gonna be a whole trip where she has to go and present, and it's she's gonna pass by through Dubai with Lisa Milan. And I'm like, guys, can the camera follow her? Because I'm here for this, I love when the Housewives franchise, they intermingle and you get a different kind of moment, different vibe in a different city. Love it. So now what she does now is that instead of doing 15 weddings a year, she brought it down to 5. So her focus is now on quality versus quantity. We had a moment where we had to discuss about Russell. And, remember, Russell was feeling that, she was MIA and not present. And this made her pay attention to that. And she's nothing but grateful and happy for the show that allowed her to see that, because she would have not seen that at all. She would have gone on her best life, doing as many weddings as possible, being a mom on the side. And now she's a housewife. Now her focus is like building her relationship with her kids, having date night with her husband, and having the good life. And I'm so happy for Gertie in that moment. Now we get to discuss the fractured friendship with the OGs. So, wow, I completely forgot about these old memories with the OGs, with Adriana, Marisol, and Alexia, okay? Those girls were friends, okay? For Marisol to give like a veil that was from her mother to Adriana for her wedding, these girls were friends. And for, our star Alexia to pass on and give the shine to Adriana in her wedding, calling her a princess and letting her have her moment, these girls were friends, okay? Now, I was watching this and realizing, wow, these girls are really friends. Marisol was like reminded, and she saw that and she started crying because they were really friends and she loved Adriana. So Adriana felt it was, her comment towards Marisol about the boyfriend situation. She felt like it was coming from a good place, and it was her showing loyalty to Marisol. But Andy, he steps in and clarifies that, Adriana, you added salt into the wound by saying that her ex did not love her. You didn't have to do the extra step. But Adriana wants to say she blames it on the alcohol. She blamed the alcohol. She said she was on her second bottle of Cristal. And guys, I completely forgot about Cristal being a drink. Okay. So she was on her second bottle of Cristal and she regrets it. Adriana also says that she reached out to Alexia for lunch to talk, but says that Alexia has been nothing but mean. And then Alexia, she takes her shot. She said she called Adriana fake and a fraud. So they're at it with each other. They're and Andy is so annoyed. I was annoyed too. I was like, girls, what we're not gonna do is be a mess. And I'm trying to take notes for this recap that I gotta do. Come on, get it together. And Andy got it together. So Andy asked Adriana if she was already married to Frederick, even though, Alexia said, she should have listened to Leah. Leah said she had all this information. This is why Adriana is a fake and a fraud. And Adriana, she stands by saying, no, they were not married. And they're not married for the show. They did not do that. So we get into the controversial comment that Adriana made about Frankie. She said, and she's saying that to this, she's trying to stand by this. She's stand by this excuse. She said that she was just trying to relate a scenario of pain. And look who comes to her defense. I was shocked. Nicole, she comes to Adriana's defense and say that, Adriana, she seemed like she was in a trance. Like she was going through a panic attack and did not realize what she was saying. And then when she did realize that, she did want to offer an apology immediately. But Alexia, she did not like that the apology included with a my bad. Like, this is not the type of situation where a my bad is enough, okay? Julia, she also feels like, and I'm happy when Julia, checks her friend. Julia says that the apology did not land well, but then she walks it back and she says that, the girls should have more empathy towards Adriana. Out of all the girls here on the stage, Adriana is the only one is single, and the girls is like, that's not an excuse. And I was really shocked with Adriana in this moment, because I really thought that, she was gonna come humble and, try to, make up with these girls. But she surprises us with a letter saying that she has evidence of abuse Marisol does. So I'm hearing like, oh my God, how much time we got left in this reunion? Is there going to be a part 4 of this situation? Like, what we doing here? So she hands Andy the letter. And he starts reading the letter. And I'm like, whose child wrote this? Whose child wrote this? What are we talking about? And I was like, skirt, 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 skirt. Glorifying alcoholism. And then it ends sincerely, Marisol's liver. I say, oh my God. The theatrics, the drama. This is like a telenovela situation. Like, I felt like the editors could have put a dramatic sound bite over this whole moment because it was doing too much. She also gives Marisol a printout of all the AA meetings that are in the vicinity of her home that she can go to. And I'm like, Adriana, come on. You really had us think this was a serious moment, that you were going to drop a bomb at this reunion. So, of course, and I'm so happy for this moment. Julia, she keeps it real with her friends. She's like, we're trying to have a moment where we're trying to get back to a happy place. But by you doing this, we cannot take this serious. Like, come on. And she's right about that, okay? So we then move on to another moment because Andy felt like we have lost that moment of going back to a happy place. So we're moving forward. We talk about Alexia's relationship with her son. And, Alexia is so grateful that, that the Moya Foundation actually found Alexia's story on the show and reached out. So it was a blessing of the show. And, it's an emotional experience for her. You see her going through it. It's hard for her talking about it. And they actually, the group, they recommend, why don't she go to therapy? And Alexia reminds us and say her mom was her therapist, and she was a therapist, So that is something for Alexia to think about. Maybe she can think about reaching to another therapist outside of the family now that her mother's no longer here. Maybe she should consider actually going to therapy. And Andy then asks about Peter and his situation. We know that Peter and his girlfriend called it quits, and Alexia's happy for that. And, Andy asked about her and how she felt when he expressed himself to his dad about wanting to move out of the country, okay? And Alexia, she said she was shocked. He had never said that to her before. Of course, she cried about it, and it's very hard for her because, they're part of the Cuban culture. Everyone is very close, very tight, so it's hard to let go a little bit. So Adriana, she pleads and say how supportive she is towards Alexia and Marisol, and she knows how it is to be judged, and she wants to offer understanding. She was actually very supportive towards Alexia when her son Peter was going through it. Like, she sent out text messages to reach out to, look beyond the behavior and understand the why, So Andy, he finds this as a moment for him to get the girls to say something nice to each other. And Adriana starts first. So I said, okay, this is maybe a moment where Adriana says something nice, but the girls reject her completely. But I'm actually pleased with this whole situation. So Adriana, she starts off with Marisol, say that she admires her strength and coming and getting through a dark spot in her life, and she wants that for herself too, which I thought that was really nice. And Adriana, she starts crying, so I'm like, damn, I feel it now. Adriana, she gets to Alexia, and she says to Alexia she appreciates her as a mother and has nothing but respect for her, and that she loves Frankie and Peter. So now it was Alexia's turn. I said, Alexia, what are you going to do? Because last time you were not open to the situation. How are you going to feel today? So Alexia, she starts off saying that she loves her song, and the song that she sings so beautifully. And, she said that before. She's not one to withhold that as a compliment. But besides that, she wants Adriana to focus on all the great things in her life, and to be very grateful for that. in Marisol's turn, she says that, Adriana, you are so lucky and you have so much. And now the OGs, they agree that no more talking about the past and they're happy to move forward. So Gertie, perfect timing, Gertie, she inserts, what about Larsa and Nicole? Can we like forget about all those other comments that you guys made about each other? And Larsa says they are at a 0 and it's a fresh start. But Nicole's face says it all. She was just quiet on that situation. So I don't know how Nicole feels about starting at 0. Is she willing to start at 0? I don't know. But it wasn't giving starting at 0. That's for sure. Now we get a final wrap of the girls where they all say something positive that came out of this season. So first we get Larsa. Larsa, she seemed loose this season and she had more fun this season. She was able to be more open. She has her own space and she's in charge of her own destiny. And she's with someone she cares about. So it's a good positive season for Larsa. I agree too as well. I feel like Larsa, aside for, the issue with her and Nicole, I feel like she had a great season. I feel like she had a good time. She wasn't as so defensive. She was able to laugh and have fun. Maybe that's because of her new man in her life. That could be a part of that equation. So with Alexia's positive thing out of the season was getting Frankie to the Demoya Foundation and Frankie and Peter getting their independence. I completely agree. It was so clear and obvious that, Alexia's family needed help and they needed outside help. Not from family, but from professionals. So I thought it was great of the Demoya Foundation to reach out and step forward and be a representative to help Frankie and to help Alexia. We're still waiting to see Peter improve. I mean, Peter is a work in progress, as we all are. But I just want Peter to get right. Okay. Now, with Marisol, her positive thing out of this season is that she loved the whole experience. She loved all the girls. I felt like we had a lot of great moments with Marisol. I thought Marisol was fun, even though a lot of people think that she drinks too much alcohol on camera and she's glamorizing alcoholism. And I think, that's, a little bit too early to call on that. I do think you could have fun without drinking, of course. But this is a part of her branding, her brand that's coming up that surrounds drinking. So we'll see how that develops. Now with Gertie, a positive thing that came out this season for her is that she is making it count and seeing the blind side in her life. So she used the show as a way to see how she interacts with others and how others are impacted. So it's a great blessing for her to be in this show. And also the quality of life is to focus on the family. So she is, prioritizing important things in her life that she wants to grow and improve on. Now with Adriana, the positive thing that came out of this season for Adriana is that she has music coming out with Emilio Estefan on the way. That's nothing but fire. Super good for Adriana, good for her. For Julia, life is in perspective for her, especially after going through the health scare. And she's now counting her blessing. I'm pretty sure we're never going to hear Julia... I don't think we're going to hear Julia complain anytime soon of having only lunch with just Martina. I think she and Martina is going to be in their love bubble next season. And I'm here to watch Martina and Julia be in their love bubble. Now for Nicole... her positive thing out of the season was, I was shocked she didn't mention her engagement party. But really, the positive thing out of the season is her journey with her dad. And it was the help through the show and the girls helping her improve her relationship with her dad. I think that's such a positive thing to reflect on. Very sentimental and, of course, way better than her engagement party. Because, I don't know, her engagement party was fun, but it was also very dramatic. And I think the most positive thing is that her having a breakthrough with her father, because it seemed like it was a situation that was never ending. And I'm so happy that the show brought a little light into that situation, and that could possibly help others too as well. Now, we left Lisa for last. So for Lisa, the positive thing out of this season for her is that she is happy to see who Lenny really is, and that maybe this is all a part of her destiny. So we look forward to seeing Lisa in her life without Lenny, and seeing how she's able to, get her happiness back. And hopefully, her kids and her family, will be strong during these times, because they're not out the woods yet. They're going through the divorce. So, of course, we're going to be hearing more about this next season. So, that was the season. They wrapped it up, and I'm so happy at the end that Alexia and Adriana was able to hug it out. And this was a great season. Like, what more can you expect from the Housewives of Miami? It was giving a 10 since episode 1, okay? Okay. So, you guys, I was so gagged. Okay, after the episode finished, I was able to catch a quick sneak peek of the ultimate girls trip of Thailand. The girls are in Thailand. So I'm so excited to recap that for you guys. Now that the Real Housewives of Miami is wrapped up, I'm going to get into the tea with the girls trip in Thailand. I know it was spicy. We were getting tea before it even dropped. So look forward for a recap of the girls trip in Thailand. So you guys, I wonder what you guys thought of this season for these group of girls. If you see them all coming back for next season, I think so. I think this was a great group of girls. I think we'll be spoiled if Leah, she makes more of an appearance next season. But who knows? We'll see. So guys, if you enjoyed this recap, please like, share, and subscribe. I am so happy of my growth with all my subscribers who are joining along this journey with me. I appreciate all of you. And don't forget, share as much kindness as possible. Take care and look forward soon to a new recap of the Ultimate Girls Trip Thailand. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.